but Dylan doesn't spend half of his time in the dugout. He'll either be in the outfield, at first, or on the mound.
Playing at T-Mobile means this game isn't just any other game, but for Keontae Johnson, every game isn't just another game.
All the photos, videos, and graphics you see on social media not only help fans feel like they're part of the team, but it does the same for recruits. Plus, it boosts the university's national brand, and that leads to ticket sales.
Well, Glenn, it's probably the most excited you will ever see grown men. They'll tell you that the birth of their child was the best day of their life, but this is probably equal to that. Winning the Super Bowl definitely has to be above the birth of your child. But anyway, 5 straight AFC championships is good, but only one of those resulted in a Super Bowl championship.
Nothing is keeping these fans from tailgating. Check out this setup. They have tarps all around. The food is out here and the food is inside. So welcome to my crib. Let me take you in. So these are our new friends. They invited us into their tailgate earlier. They have tarps all around the place. They have space heaters. A Topeka West volleyball standout will stay repping purple. Today, Mackenzie Jones signed her national letter of intent to play volleyball at K-State.
The days of everyone in the Big 12 playing each other are over, as we're seeing this year. But how is the league handling 16 teams? Well, the Big 12 answered just that today.
Well, we've heard the expression a lot recently. Faces change, expectations don't. It's been thrown around a lot in the wake of Bill Self's hospitalization, but year after year, it rings true for KU. The Jayhawks lost about 70% of their production after last year's national championship.
Another big concern with this rule is how it'll impact high school recruiting. With experienced players at coaches' fingertips now, a lot fewer high school players could be walking through the door. His friends call him a genie because everything he's been doing this season, he has been talking about for the past 2 years that he's had off from basketball. So here's how Keontae Johnson's perseverance is inspiring others.
2 years felt like 4 years. A lot of days where you down.
Keontae Johnson isn't playing basketball like someone who took 2 years off.
Johnson with a throwdown. Oh my!
To come out the gate that fast, I don't think anybody expected that.
You would, expect to see some type of rust or some type of, process to getting back to the top. For him right away, since he was able to, start running and doing contact, he was elite.
On December 12th, 2020, Johnson passed out after a timeout during a Florida men's basketball game.
It basically was like a freak thing that happened. I mean, they still was trying to do tests. They still have my medical stuff, so they still been looking into it and doing a lot of research behind it.
Luckily, the only injury he had was a busted lip, so there wasn't much to recover from. But because of the uncertainty surrounding his collapse, Johnson had trouble getting doctors' clearance to return to basketball.
I knew teams was going to be scared to take the risk would pick me up. So Coach Tane let it be known from day one that he wasn't scared. He just see how I can help the program, which made it stand out for me to come here.
There was no apprehension on his part or on our part. He wanted to play. There's this great desire in him. He just loves the game of basketball.
And when he could finally play again, a school's medical staff was one of his top priorities.
I had to find the right school that had like the perfect medical team. So it was a lot of schools that I wanted to go to, but the medical wasn't up to date, and I just feel like with Coach Tane, he had a similar situation at Baylor with one of his former players. How they was up to date with the doctors, making sure I was gonna see all the doctor's appointments. To this day, we still do a lot of doctor's appointments with them.
Johnson doesn't worry about collapsing again, but his coaches and teammates make sure they're taking care of him anyway.
We're so thankful that Mom and Dad had a piece about our staff. That includes Luke and Phil and Dr. Wall, everything that we had in place to help Keontae and to monitor everything.
Through it all, his goals stayed the same.
Still trying to make it to the NBA.
That resilience is inspiring this generation and the next one.
For me, it's a blessing just to see how much kids still enjoy watching me play. I mean, I could have gave up, and I feel like that could have changed a lot of people's lifestyle of just seeing me give up, and they feel like it could have been the right way to give up.
He's like a rock star here. He's giving high fives, he's shaking kids' hands, he's talking to them, he's being very, transparent with them, and that's why they love him so much.
Welcome back to K-Nation. Every year we see impressive freshmen on Jayhawk and Wildcat programs all over the place, adding some valuable new skill sets. One newcomer is testing KU softball in ways that it hasn't seen before.
Yeah, here's how Caden Stafford's hearing loss is actually a gain for the whole team.
I read lips really good, and so if you're not facing me and I don't have them in, I can't hear you.
She doesn't let the fact that she can't hear fully like sideline her at all. So when we're doing drills and stuff like that, she is very easy to talk to.
KU freshman Caden Stafford is taking the team's communication skills to another level because sometimes she can't hear them.
It's only like mild to moderate, so it's not that bad. It's really not that big of a deal to me because I've grown up with it. It's just part of my life.
Stafford has worn hearing aids since she was 5 years old, just after she started playing softball.
My parents thought I was super stubborn and wouldn't listen to them, and my dad's client is an audiologist and recommended me to get tested, and I did, and I ended up having hearing loss.
The hearing aids do bug her sometimes, but she's used to playing through it.
When it's super windy outside or if it's raining, like in travel ball, I would have to take them out, and I just like can't hear on the field. My teammates, like instead of just yelling from like third to short, they'll like walk towards me and make sure I know, or like if I miss a play that's happening, they like call time and tell me.
She's actually making the entire softball team better.
Yes, sir.
I'm big on communication anyway, so it just really, I think it just puts a little bit more emphasis on us being efficient and really exact in what we're looking for on the field when we are communicating.
And providing some laughs along the way.
So we have this drill where we have to face the back wall, and we can only turn around when we hear the sound of the ball to the bat. And Cadence like looked at me and she's like, I can't hear the bat. And I was like, Coach, like Cato can't hear the bat. And she was like, that's very rude of you to say. And Cato's like, no, I didn't think that was rude at all. That was just honest.
I love how she is so nonchalant about it.
Yeah.
She's like, I've had this my whole life. I just play through it anyway.
Everyday people have the freedom of choice, including the ability to choose where you want to work. NCAA Division I athletes have been denied this right until recently. Now, a player no longer has to sit out a year if they transfer schools.
I don't know if there's a coach in the country that feels good about it, to be honest. We all knew it would affect it. We never thought we're getting near 1,400, 1,500 transfers.
There are obvious concerns for this new rule, such as player retention, building a culture, and smaller schools being abandoned for bigger ones. K-State men's basketball has already seen 3 players leave and 3 transfer in.
In a way, we traded. I kind of laugh. I kind of feel like a general manager of a franchise instead of a coach.
But how about Division II athletics? D2 athletes never had to sit out a year, which helped retain standout athletes who could go D1 but didn't want to wait.
It's part of our reality now, and I think that, you know, we can complain about it and moan about it, but at the end of the day, we've got to try to prepare for it as best we can.
Another big concern with this rule is how it'll impact high school recruiting. With experienced players at coaches' fingertips now, a lot fewer high school players could be walking through the door.
You'll recruit some high school kids, but at the same time, you might be able to get a better player down later on, so you better hold some scholarships back.
The NCAA changed the rule so those who actually drive college sports, the athletes, get their power back.
I think that's how it should be, in my opinion. Yeah, that's cool. It's cool that people can just transfer and play their first year there.
It's been a positive thing the last 5 years to last decade to try to give them more power and more of a say in the overall landscape of college athletics. Again, I think they in most cases deserve a lot of this.
It'll be interesting how it all unfolds here over the next couple of years.
Reporting local news that matters, Lainey Gerber, KSNT Sports.